Out of pneumonia?
Absolutely not.
Why? What?
There was the most expensive PR campaign against me to shut me down. If you actually knew what they did to me, there was a bounty on my head, there was a bunch of stuff.
So do you have volunteered to testify at the trial, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely I am.
His mother was trying to do something and his mother was saying something and the nigga slapped his mom.
Hell in 2024, it's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. Any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong.
Katt Williams said something on a podcast that got 83 million views. People online turned it into a story about a murder. But that's not what he said. Today, we're going to look at his real words, side by side with what officials actually found when Kim Porter died. Two different stories got mixed together on the internet. One is a comedian talking about Tupac. The other is a coroner's report about pneumonia. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where the real story ends, and the online rumor begins. Let's start with Kim Porter herself. Kim Porter was a model and actress from Columbus, Georgia. She worked in music videos, TV shows, and films. She was also a mom of 4 kids. 3 of them she shared with Sean Diddy Combs. She and Diddy had an on-and-off relationship for years, going back to the 1990s. Porter kept a pretty private life for someone connected to a huge celebrity. Friends described her as warm and down-to-earth. She wasn't chasing headlines. She was raising her kids and running her own projects, including a lifestyle company she started with 2 college friends. In November 2018, everything changed. Porter had been dealing with flu-like symptoms for several days. She wasn't feeling well, but nothing suggested anything life-threatening was happening. Then, on the morning of November 15, 2018, she was found unresponsive in her home in Toluca Lake, California. She was pronounced dead at the scene. She was 47 years old. That's where the facts start. But it's also where the questions started too. And those questions never really went away. Here's what the official record says happened in the days leading up to her death. Porter had a sore throat that started around November 7th. A few days later, she developed a fever, and it climbed to around 102 degrees. She called her physician. A nurse came by to give her fluids and vitamins. The next day, she told her doctor she had a streak of blood when she coughed. She still went about her day. She got a massage. She watched TV with people around her that evening. Then she went to bed. She never woke up. For a lot of people, that timeline felt too fast. A person goes from flu symptoms to gone in about a week. No hospital stay, no red flag from doctors treating her at home. That gap between feeling sick and found dead is exactly where speculation started creeping in, especially once Diddy's legal troubles became public years later. But speculation isn't the same as evidence. So what did the investigators actually find when they opened her case? An autopsy was done the day after she died. But the cause of death wasn't announced right away. It was listed as deferred, meaning investigators needed more time. 2 months later, in January 2019, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner Coroner's Office released its answer. Kim Porter died of lobar pneumonia. That's a severe lung infection that fills part of the lung with fluid and inflammation. The manner of death was ruled natural. Not homicide, not an accident. Natural. The toxicology results came back clean too. No illegal drugs, no signs of poisoning, no trauma, just a serious, fast-moving lung infection that can, in rare cases, take someone down quickly, even someone who seemed generally healthy. That's the official record, from the agency whose entire job is to determine exactly this. But official records don't always end the conversation, especially online. And a few years later, this case was about to get a whole new life on the internet. Fast forward to 2024. Diddy gets arrested. He's charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and other serious crimes. Suddenly, everyone is looking back at everything connected to him, including Kim Porter's death 6 years earlier. People online started asking, What if there was more to it? What if a healthy 47-year-old woman doesn't just die from pneumonia out of nowhere? Reddit threads, TikTok videos, and YouTube channels started stacking up theories. One version claimed Porter had been secretly writing a tell-all book about Diddy before she died, and that someone made sure it never came out. It's the kind of story that spreads fast, because it fits a narrative people already believed about Diddy after his other legal troubles came out. But here's the thing about that tell-all book theory. It has a very specific, very checkable origin, and it did not hold up the way people thought it would. In late 2024, a 59-page self-published book showed up on Amazon. It was called Kim's Lost Words. It claimed to contain Kim Porter's private diaries, with explosive claims about Diddy inside. It briefly shot up bestseller charts. People shared it everywhere, as proof that something had been hidden. Then Porter's own children stepped in. All four of them, Quincy, Christian, Jesse, and Delilah, released a joint statement. They said, in their own words, that claims their mom wrote a book were simply untrue. She did not write it. Even the book's own publisher couldn't verify where the material actually came from. So the biggest piece of evidence behind the murder theory turned out to be a fabricated book that the victim's own kids publicly shot down. That's a pretty big crack in the foundation of the whole theory. But her kids didn't stop there. They had more to say about the rumors in general. In September 2024, Porter's children released a statement addressing all of it directly. They said they'd seen so many hurtful and false rumors about their parents' relationship and about their mom's death that they felt they had to speak out. Here's the part that matters most. They said the cause of their mother's death has long been established. There was no foul play. They asked people to respect their family's grief instead of continuing to spread theories that aren't true. Think about that for a second. These are her actual children. The people who lost their mom, they're the ones telling the public, directly, that the murder theory isn't real, and that repeating it just adds more pain to something they already have to carry every day. That's about as close to a final word as you can get on this. But this is the part where Katt Williams comes in. And what he actually said is very different from what people think he said. In January 2024, Katt Williams sat down with Shannon Sharpe on the Club Shay Shay podcast. That episode has been viewed more than 80 million times. In it, Williams talked about turning down a $50 million deal, and he said, quote, "P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you got to tell him no. I did. I got the receipts." He never once mentioned Kim Porter. Not her name, not her death, not anything about it. Later that year, after Diddy's arrest made headlines, GQ magazine asked Williams directly why he brought Diddy up at all. His answer was about Tupac Shakur, not Kim Porter. Williams said he loved Tupac, called him a kindred spirit, and said if Diddy was responsible for knocking mine off, he wanted him exposed. He called Diddy a demon and talked about cold spiritual warfare. That's the whole quote. Tupac, not Kim Porter, not anybody's mother. There is no interview, no clip, no source anywhere where Katt Williams claims anyone's mother was involved in Kim Porter's death. That specific claim doesn't trace back to him at all. So where did that version of the story even come from? This is what tends to happen online. Two things that are both true at the same time. Katt Williams making explosive comments about Diddy, and Kim Porter's death, sparking new conspiracy theories after Diddy's arrest, end up getting mashed together into one story that never actually happened. Somebody posts a thumbnail. Somebody else clips two unrelated videos next to each other. The algorithm rewards whatever gets clicks the fastest. And a claim like Katt Williams leaks Diddy's mother's role in Kim Porter's death, spreads before anyone checks if it's real. But when you actually trace it back, piece by piece, the coroner's office ruled natural causes. Toxicology was clean. Her own kids denounced the murder theory and the fake memoir tied to it. And Katt Williams' real comments were about Tupac, not Kim Porter. and never mention Diddy's mother at all. None of that makes for a less interesting story. If anything, it's a pretty wild example of how a rumor forms out of thin air, gets attached to real public figures, and spreads to millions of people who never fact-check it. So next time you see a headline like that one, you already know how to check it. Here's where it gets kind of unsettling, though. This isn't the only case where a real interview clip and a completely unrelated death get stitched into a story that never happened. It's happened with other celebrities. It's happened with other podcasts. And it usually follows the same pattern. Real footage, real death, zero actual connection between the two, and millions of views before anyone checks. So the real question isn't just what happened to Kim Porter, or what Katt Williams actually said. It's how many other headlines you've believed lately that started exactly the same way. Because once you know the pattern, you start seeing it everywhere.